The Nigerian Bar Association has condemned the recent agreement to allow the United Kingdom attorneys to practice in Nigeria. The NBA President Yakubu Maiku, in an email to lawyers of the Nigerian Bar Association on Tuesday, titled The Purported ETIP Agreement on Legal Services between the government of Nigeria and the United Kingdom, stated that the association was not consulted before such a step was taken. The NBA president also said he had convened a meeting of senior lawyers in the country to deliberate on how to stop the government from making the policy a reality. Well, the National Human Rights Commission has lamented the rising increase in human rights violations in Nigeria. The NHRC says that the situation in Plateau State and the attacks on traditional institutions, like what happened in Ekiti State, are serious concerns to the Commission. Let's deepen the discussion now as Arise News analyst Dayo Sobowale joins us. Good afternoon, Mr. Sobowale. Thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure of being here as usual. Right.
Now, do you think it's time that we see more steps taken, to reform and strengthen the criminal justice system in order to prevent violations and actually see more accountability for situations like this?
Well, I am surprised that it is the Human Rights Commission talking about what we all know and see every day. I think it's belated, and I think the commission itself should be scrapped. Because, you see, the press, the media, both electronic and the press, see, they are doing a wonderful job in cataloging the human rights violations in Nigeria, almost on a daily basis. There was even a time that the previous government said that it seems the press is happy with bad news or violations of human rights. It's happening all over the country, in the Middle Belt, in the Northwest, in the Southeast, now in the Southwest. They mentioned the murder of two traditional rulers in Ekiti. But all these are human rights violations. But you see, I want to look at the rationale for setting up the Human Rights Commission in the first place. It is based on this universal idea of the rights of people, rights of movement, right of education, right of freedom to express yourself, and freedom of association. But you see, to catalog it the way it has been done by the Human Rights Commission is to follow what is part of the UN Charter of Human Rights. And that one too has fallen on very bad times recently. You see, you recall the tragedies of the past in which human rights were violated. You start with the Holocaust. And then, of course, the anti-terrorism measures of the US after 9/11. But you see, when you look at human rights in the light of cultural dispensation or cultural orientation of people, you see that those who determine human rights violation are usually the stronger person arising from any conflict. Okay, see what is going on in the world now. You see massive human rights violation in Gaza. And the United States cannot come totally to condemn Israel. No human rights violation is, I will even say that it's almost worse than the Holocaust, the way it is going, and it is going on right before our eyes. So human rights has been made to look relative, even though universally we know what it is.
Okay, Mr. Sobowale, I'm so sorry to interject at this moment. We do have a developing story that we have to shift our attention to very quickly. Now, this next story contains graphic images that you may find difficult to watch, and viewers' discretion is advised. The National Transportation Safety Board has released photos of the helicopter crash that killed 6 people south of Las Vegas on Friday. The Airbus EC-130 aircraft was heading to Boulder City from Palm Springs, California, when it crashed near Halloran Springs, California, about 80 miles south of Las Vegas. The aircraft burst into flames on impact with the ground. News reports identified 4 of the 6 victims as Herbert Wigwe, CEO of one of Nigeria's largest financial institutions, Access Bank, Wigwe's wife and his son, and Abimbola Ogunbanjo, former chair of NGX Group, the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Witnesses described the weather conditions during the crash as rain with a wintry mix to investigators, which was later supported by NTSB meteorologists. Additionally, reports of downed power lines in the crash area are being investigated. Now we bring the conversation back. Sorry, very, disturbing images indeed. And we do wish the souls that they do rest in peace, and our comfort and our support and prayers continue to be with their families, their loved ones, and the nation at large. Okay. Mr. Sobowale, apologies for interjecting. Please, if you may continue in your line of thought.
It's difficult to continue. That was a very, very horrible situation. I wish the soul of the people there rest in perfect peace. Of course, I'm disturbed, but I'll carry on. You see, human rights has been made to become relative, depending on who is identifying it. After Vietnam, the US knew that it had a bad image all over the world. Because of the influence it started monitoring human rights in countries that are ideologically diverse from democratic values. But then let us come home to the situation we are in now. Given the killings, you have serious insecurity problems. So we don't need the Human Rights Commission to tell us that. And all those have been catalogued. They've mentioned 1,000 something deaths or arrests in January. But all along, if you total them, it's like we are at war. So what they are saying is relative. But you see, human rights based on Western values, which are the values that we have been brought up on, you get me, are now differing in terms of our cultural orientation and historical background. And we all know that. The EU, which monitors our elections and dictates to us on how to do so many things, economically and politically, their cultural values now are based on LGBTQ rights, mainly. Essentially. And for some African nations that they used to give aid to, now they condition that aid to them respecting LGBTQ rights. Even the Catholic Pope, you know what happened? Said LGBTQ same-sex
unions.
Same-sex marriage people should be given blessing. But of course, the Nigerian bishops have revolted against that in Congo, so many places. So it is tending, human rights is tending to be interpreted through ethnocentrism now. You thinking that your own culture is better than mine, which makes everything relative. Okay, you must look at contemporary development. Black Lives Matter. Remember what happened when that black American was killed? What has started the woke culture in the US now. Before that, Me Too, when ladies who had boyfriends 50, 30 years ago will now say, Me Too, she was sexually molested. And those men were sent to jail on the strength of that. So it is a developing thing. But we should not allow Western values to be forced on us in the name of human rights, where we know our cultural values. You see, in this part of the world, marriage between a man and a woman, and the family is still there. But it's no longer like that in some other parts of the world, and they relate with us. They run our economy, they run our politics too, literally. So it is high time we became conscious of real human rights and should be able to tell people that their freedom ends where our nose begins. Sam?
I wish we could unpack more of what you've said, because you certainly have said a lot, but unfortunately our time is up for this session for today. But Mr. Sobowale, we always appreciate your time and your contribution, and we look forward to hearing more of your insights.